class. This week we're going to be working on making a different kind of shaped bowl, a larger bowl. And I decided for a demonstration I would work on a bread bowl that starts out with a slab and then works into coils. So I'm starting with the darker clay body this time, but in some other videos I'll start with the white body. I'm going to start by just getting this a little less thick on our canvas. And then I'm going to work in with the rolling pin. This is not the only way to do this. I just wanted to show you multiple ways that you can use more than one technique to make a pot. It doesn't have to be pinch and coil or slab. It can be both. So what I'm doing is getting this down to a little bit smaller thickness. This is a little bit thick for me. There we go. And what I've done here is I created a mold for myself just by making, I just took the fire clay stone with iron clay, and I used my rib and I worked this surface in this kind of oval shape, thinking about what the bottom would look like. And this will be a mold for me. This is set up past leather hard. It's pretty close to leather hard actually, because I can still smooth it, but it's getting there. And if you're worried about sticking together, you could use some plastic wrap between, and that way it won't stick. So this is just one of the bowl options, but I kind of been thinking about bread because everybody I know has been making bread since this whole COVID situation started, and why not make a bread bowl? This is a rolling pin that I bought online, and it has a texture kind of laser cut into it. And so I'm going to start by making this on the bottom so that I can roll this later on top, or maybe the top can be smooth, but if I wanted to, I can add this texture on right away. The great part about this is that I can add a white slip to it and scrape the very top off, and it will kind of look like this. This is a slab pot that I did that with. And I did get a little heavy-handed over here, but you can see the areas that worked pretty well with a transparent blue glaze. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay this in my mold. Here's my mold. And I'm going to be pretty gentle so I don't, mess up the surface. There we go. And I'm going to take my red rib and I'm going to start working that surface. Not really hard. I'm just cleaning it up and making sure that it's all nestled in there for my base. I'm using the round side of the rib for this part. And you could make that into any shape. So if you don't like the idea of an oval bowl, you could start with one that is a different shape than that. The only thing is I'm going to eventually have to recycle that clay. Probably will let it dry out completely after I make a few of these bowls, and then I'll add water to it to rehydrate. I'm just cutting off the extra clay, and this will be my starting point. Now, the extra clay, like this, remember you're going to want to wedge up before you use it again. Wedge that clay up so it's not in little pieces. And this is my starting point. I just have to let this set up. And like I said, if you're worried about it sticking, you could put some plastic wrap between the two sections. I have one of these already going with a different kind of a texture on it. It's gotten quite big. As I'm letting the top set up, I'm putting plastic on the rim. But this is what it's looking like now that I've added I think I've added two coils on top of this. So this is a little too wet for another coil, but we'll come back to this in a next video. So until that time, this has to just set up. I kind of lift it away from the clay that it's sitting on so it doesn't get attached. Just kind of doing just really mild pinching technique. There we go. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll take my sponge and wet down that lip while this sets up a little bit. And that's it until I put the next coils on. Thank you.